no matter what they say or feel, I am safe. No matter what they say or feel, I am safe. That cultivates this feeling of safety within you and takes some of your power back as well, knowing that we're responsible for us and how we feel. We can't control how the other person feels, and we never want to be unkind or mean. It doesn't justify them being unkind or mean, but we're responsible for us and they're responsible for them in terms of our emotional experience. Hey everyone, Cheryl here. Welcome back. We have a question today about how to express your needs without upsetting anyone. And it was a question I actually received on Tumblr. I'm going to read out the question. I'm going to give you a couple things. The person that asked this question, I'm going to give her a couple direct steps that you can use to express your boundaries without upsetting anyone. I'm also going to give some observations as well. Before I do, if you haven't met me before, if you don't know who I am, I'm Cheryl Muir. I'm a relationship expert, relationship whisperer, the person who helps high achievers overcome their dating drama, which is so important because when we're a high achiever or a really gifted creative who maybe hasn't stepped into their full power yet, as I feel is the case with a lot of people that maybe found me on Tumblr. I've spent a lot of time on the Tumblr machine many moons ago. Often when we haven't really accepted and expressed how brilliant we are at writing or art or dance or whatever it is for us, when we are that kind of person, high achiever or a very gifted creative, often what happens is we have these patterns in love and dating and there's a lot of shame around it. I'll create another video on shame, but that's one of the reasons why I work with these high achieving people, because everything looks good on the outside or to other people, what you're creating, your art, your film, your cosplay, whatever it is, it looks great to other people, but inside there's that feeling of like, I'm a fraud because this part of my life isn't sorted. I'm also going to talk about in another video the reason why someone would struggle with boundaries even though you might be a real boss in your life, at work or in business. So let's crack on with the question and with today's topic. And by the way, if you have a question for me, then pop it down in the comments below and I'll see if I can answer it on a future video. I think this is really fun to do and hopefully it's helpful for you as well. I've got some notes below me, so if I look down, I'm just looking down at my laptop and I'm going to read out the questions. The question that I received was, hey, can you talk about how I can not upset people when I'm expressing my true feelings? Because I, more often than not, eventually end up hurting them. And I asked for clarification and I said, just to make sure I'm understanding correctly, is this happening when you set a boundary or ask for a need to be met and then people don't respond well? And she said, yes, that's exactly it. So, as I said, I'm going to go ahead and give some of my observations, then I'm going to give this beautiful soul who answered this question some clear steps that she can really focus on. So there's a couple of things here. Sometimes it's in the way that we're communicating it, right? So if we're setting a boundary, saying, hey, this isn't okay with me, or we're expressing a need and we're saying, this is what I need from you, this is what I require, this is what I'd like to do, sometimes the way that we're communicating it is a little off, and sometimes that's why they're not responding well. The second thing that can happen is sometimes it's more a reflection of their level of emotional health, so their ability to really respond to our needs and our boundaries really is a reflection of maybe where they don't have boundaries in their life. You can imagine if you're not good at saying no and then someone says no to you, it's almost holding up a mirror saying, hey, I'm able to do this and say this, and you're like, well, shit, I'm not. And sometimes that can be difficult for people to hear. Or if they're not emotionally healthy and they don't know what a boundary even is, I'm not going to define boundary here because I think we all know what that is right here. We're all kind of on the path, on the journey. If they don't even know what a boundary is, you might as well be speaking fluent Russian to them. They just don't understand. They're not fluent in the lingo. So it's going to be quite jarring for them and quite difficult for them to understand what it is you're even asking. So you might get pushback because of their level of awareness and their level of emotional health. If they're not really able to hold your need and receive it and respond to you, it could be something to do with them. So the first thing is, it could be the way you're communicating it. That could be a possibility. The second thing is, it could be a reflection of where they're at. And the third thing is, what I kind of intuited from this question is that there's a real softness in this lady's heart, she doesn't want to hurt anyone, and that's a beautiful thing. And of course we don't, we feel deeply, we're soft-hearted, right? And we don't want anyone to be upset. We don't want to upset anyone, but sometimes that is a beautiful thing, but sometimes it can go too far, and we're wanting to protect them from being hurt. But in doing that, we also we're stuffing down our own words, our own needs, and we're not speaking up for what they want. And we really can't control other people's reactions, right? We really can't. So that's just something that we need to know and be okay with. So they're my initial observations. I'm actually going to go into now the 3 things that I'd really like this lady to look at. And if this resonates with you as well, and this is something you struggle with, then it's something you can apply as well. And the 3 points I'm going to go through is related to the 3 observations that we just explored there. So the first thing is to ask yourself is, am I communicating this in a really loving yet clear way? So just check in with yourself when you're setting the need, or you're setting the boundary, whatever it is, you're expressing your true feelings. When you're doing that, are you feeling like really neutral and emotionally regulated? Or are you upset? Are you angry? Are you maybe coming from and I'm not putting anything on you and saying that you are doing this, I'm just giving some options of what might be going on. Do you feel a little bit like pissed off at them, or is there an element of like blame? Like, where are you coming from when you communicate that? So is it loving, you know, or is it a little bit maybe wrapped up in some of the emotion that's going on for you first? In which case, let's self-soothe, and I've got loads of videos on that. I'll link one up above. I've also got a course on emotional regulation if you need help with that. The details for that are down below. So just make sure you're emotionally regulated first, like you've self-soothed. You're not in a heightened state of anger or sadness or whatever, frustration, whatever that might be. And then are you communicating it in a really clear way? Are you being clear with what it is you need? So sometimes we're saying, hey, I'm pissed off that you did this thing, when what we really want to ask is, what would feel really good is if we could do this thing together. So try and move them towards the behavior that you're wanting, rather than expressing that you're pissed off that they did the thing that you don't like. Does that make sense? You can also express, hey, when you did this thing, I felt this, and make sure you're using I statements, not you statements. We're not blaming them. I felt this. What would feel really good is if we could do this, this, and this. Right? Say it in a way that feels good for you, that's not clunky, obviously, and that comes from knowing that your needs get to get met. The second thing I'd look at is, so these people you're expressing this to, are they the types of people who understand needs and boundaries? Are they doing the inner work, right? If not, find people who are, right? It doesn't mean like say goodbye to your family and your friends. That's not the next step, but it might be an opportunity to build a new, healthier circle of people. So again, with the example of, let's say if you were learning a new language, let's say you were learning to speak Russian, you would want to be around people who were maybe fluent in Russian, or who were also learning to speak Russian, so that you could elevate your skills in that area. It's the same when it comes to expressing our needs and our boundaries, right? So if you are around people who are not fluent in Russian, not learning to speak Russian, meaning they're not interested, they don't know what a boundary is, they're not interested in learning, then you're going to be hitting excuse me, that was very loud, I do apologize. You're going to be hitting a brick wall with regards to communicating with them, because you're saying something in Russian like yellow blue bus, which I think means I love you. You're saying something to them in Russian and they're like, I don't speak Russian, I don't know what you're talking about. They don't know what a boundary is. They're not going to be able to meet you there. So it might be time to find people who can. And the final thing is some inner work for you, my gorgeous one who asked this question, which is look at whether or not you feel comfortable with other people's emotions, right? So often there's a safety thing there. It might remind us of being really, really young and having a parent who had really big emotions, and that was really scary for us, and it made us feel unsafe. So one thing you can do is to tell yourself, no matter what they say or feel, I am safe. No matter what they say or feel, I am safe. That cultivates this feeling of safety within you and takes some of your power back as well, knowing that we're responsible for us and how we feel. We can't control how the other person feels, and we never want to be unkind or mean. It doesn't justify them being unkind or mean, but we're responsible for us and they're responsible for them in terms of our emotional experience, right? If they are the kinds of people that are really reactive when you're saying how you feel and it feels like they are being unkind and it doesn't feel good, it might just be worth looking at, like, long term, are these the kinds of people that you want to be around? If it's really activating like a trauma response within you, it doesn't mean they're bad people necessarily, but if you're feeling like crap and you're not feeling supported or heard, then it might be worth looking at whether or not you want to keep those people around in the long term, right? If they're not on this path of growth and you are, and they're really not able to hear you, you deserve to be heard and you deserve to be seen, and you deserve to have people around you who want to help you have your needs met, and you deserve to have your needs met. So sometimes as well, just I guess a bonus point number 4 is sometimes I'm going to be careful of how I choose this because I don't want to blame anyone or victim shame or anything like that, but sometimes if we have a belief of my needs don't get met or I don't deserve to have my needs met, sometimes unconsciously we're choosing people who don't meet our needs, right? We have this feeling of, oh, you know, my worth isn't really solid, so the people I'm choosing are going to reflect that back to me because I don't really believe that my needs get met or that they're important, so the people around me back that up, and that's something that I tolerate because of my level of worth, right? So there might be something there. So let's go through that again. So the first thing is, am I communicating this in a really clear yet loving way? So work on your emotional regulation and make sure you're communicating it and being clear about what you want, and direct them towards the behavior that you want and not focusing on the thing that's pissed you off. The second is, are they the types of people that are going to be able to understand needs and boundaries, right? Are they studying this work? Are they familiar with it? Or is it like trying to speak Russian to people that don't know Russian, you know? And then the third thing is, just look at your level of comfort with other people's emotions, and try and cultivate that feeling of safety within yourself by saying, no matter what they say or feel, I am safe, I am okay. Doesn't justify them being mean or unkind. If they are, then you may not want to have those types of people in your life long term, but know that if that big emotion that they're having is really activating for you, then you might just need to really work on what are some things I can do if that does bring up some fear in me. I really hope that helped you. If you need more, you can take a look at my courses down below. You can also book a call with me to work with me privately. Subscribe to the channel, ring the bell to get notified when I release a new video. You can also find me on the Instagram machine. My handle there is Cheryl J. Muir and my website is cherylmuir.com. And if you have a question for me, then pop it in the comments below and I will answer it on a upcoming video. Thank you for being here. I love you. You're doing a beautiful job. Bye for now.